Moving to Japan is not as hard as it seems, but there are some basic requirements that you'll have to meet beforehand. So let's start with the biggest and probably the most important one. Have a bachelor's degree. Having a bachelor's degree from an accredited university is the top priority you will have to take care of. If you don't have this, you will not be considered for the position. Now, the major does not matter. You might be wondering, does it have to be a teaching major, an education or English major? And the good news is no, the major does not matter. For all they care, you could have a math, biology, or even philosophy major. As long as you show that you have an honest desire and will to live in Japan, then that's pretty much all you need to show them. Now, if you have a TEFL certificate which stands for Teaching English as a Foreign Language, this will help you stand out from the crowd, but it is not required. The TEFL certificate is pretty easy to get. It only takes about 1 college semester. It's about 4 classes, so if you can get your hands on that, that will definitely put you ahead of the competition. Number 2 is more of a no-brainer, but make sure that you do not commit any crimes. And that doesn't count minor traffic violations, of course. You will be submitted to a background check, so make sure that you're clean. Number 3 is not a requirement, but there are 2 main types of English teaching jobs in Japan. So let me tell you about the pros and cons so you can decide which one is the right one for you. ALT, or Assistant Language Teacher. This is what I do in Japan right now, actually. Being an ALT is a school job. You work most likely at a public school, and the pros of this job is that you have more downtime. Sometimes you might only teach 1 or 2 classes, so the rest of the time you stay in the office and you might have some time to study Japanese or work on a side project that you might be working on. This is a typical 9-to-5 job, so you do not have to worry about evening or weekend work at all. You will have more chances to speak Japanese, since you might be the only foreigner, or basically the only English speaker at all in the school. And you will experience more Japanese culture. You will see the kids eating lunch. You will see them doing their everyday activities at school. So this will really immerse you into the culture. Now onto the cons, the dark side of being an ALT. I'm kidding, it's not that dark, but still, there are negatives. One of them is the lower salary, typically from $2,000 to $2,500 a month. Now it's not a bad salary, but it's only enough to get you through and enjoy a little bit, but there is very few chances of having a raise. Early mornings, as I mentioned earlier, this is a school job, so most likely you will have to get up between 6 to 8 o'clock in the morning. And if you're not an early morning person like me, a night owl, then this might be a bit of a struggle at first, so keep that in mind. And the last con, feeling lonely. As I mentioned too, you most likely will be the only foreigner or the only fluent English speaker in the school for that matter. So be aware that if your Japanese skills are not very good in the beginning, you might go days without ever really having a real conversation with people in the staff room. Nothing past small talk really. So there might be days where you might end up feeling lonely. The second type of English teaching job is Eikaiwa, which means English Conversation School. Now I do not have experience working in this type of job, but the pros are higher pay. Typically the salary is a bit higher than ALT salary, I've heard, but I am not exactly sure how much higher it is. There are no early mornings, you can sleep in. Most likely you work in the afternoons and during the weekends because a lot of the people going are kids after school or adults that come after work. You have a variety of classes and students, different types of ages, not only kids from school but also adults. And you have a less structured schedule. This is not a school, like I said. And you will have other English-speaking colleagues, other foreigner colleagues, so you will not feel lonely. Now onto the cons, the negatives. First, of course, evening and weekend work. As I mentioned, you don't have to work early mornings, but you do have to work during the evenings and the weekends. So say goodbye to Friday and Saturday nights out drinking with your buddies, and say hello to Sundays and Mondays off. by yourself. Also, there's no long summer vacations like you do have in school. You don't follow a school schedule like summer vacation or winter break. So your vacations will be during irregular times of the year. And also, there's not a lot of chances to speak Japanese since the customers that go to this English conversation school, they're paying to learn English and speak English. So you're required to speak English 24 hours a day. And chances of improving your Japanese are very slim. Number 4, save up at least $3,000 to $4,000. Now, why is this a requirement? Doesn't that sound a little bit excessive? I agree, but it depends on the company you go with. A lot of companies do not pay for your airplane ticket to come to Japan. The only one that I know that does is Jet, so do your research on which company you want to go with. Also, companies will not give you allowance for rent. They will not pay for your rent, so with that being said, they will help you find an apartment most likely, but you will have to pay the initial cost of moving in. Most apartments in Japan will charge you initial deposit fees, 2 months of rent in advance, and also other fees such as changing the lock or cleaning the apartment beforehand. That will usually come out to $2,000 in total. And also, you might not receive a salary during the first month that you're living in Japan, so you will need some money to survive during that first month. And that leads me to my last point, accommodation, where to live in Japan. So if you don't have those $3,000 to $4,000 that I mentioned saved up with you, then there's another option for you. It's called a share house. Share houses are basically houses where you, as the name says, you share the space, you share the house with other people. There's typically 5, 6, 7, 8, or even 10 rooms in the house. You live in a big house, you have your own bedroom that you can lock, of course, and you have to share the toilet, the shower, and of course the living room and kitchen area with other people. And typically they only allow people in their 20s or 30s to live in share houses, so it's a great opportunity to meet other young people and make a lot of friends in the beginning. This is definitely a requirement that I should have known before moving to Japan. Believe me, do your research and it'll save you a lot of money and heartache. So, there you have it. Now you have all the basic information you need to start living and working in Japan as an English teacher. Is there anything else you'd like to know? If so, please write it down in the comments below and hit the like and subscribe button for more videos about life in Japan as a night owl. Thanks for watching.